Hey guys, this is Orsi and this is going to be my first impression of a new deck called Midnight Magic. I pre-ordered this deck in October, I think, but it was released in March. Fortunately, before Book Depository decided to close down. I'm just still so sad over the fact that ordering decks and books is not going to be as easy as it was in the past few years. I don't know. It just sucks that, you can get used to something and then it's like change. But yeah, we will move on and find other places to order decks from because there's no way in hell that I'm not gonna buy new decks because there's quite a few coming up or coming out in this year that I'm interested in. Whatever, rant. Okay, let's get done with that. So this is a that was a name, Schuster, Simons and Schuster's deck. I think this is my first deck from them. I don't remember if I had anything else. The box looks really nice. This one, the Midnight Magic title is embossed, so you can actually, I don't know, I don't think you can read the text. You can just feel that there is something. It's easy to open, which I always appreciate, but the cards are smaller than the box, just a tiny bit, and they included a cardboard piece to keep them at place. I don't like that solution. I mean, I really appreciate when the cards are and the guidebook is the same size as the box itself. Like, we don't need bigger ones, honestly. There are some illustrations on the side. I don't really necessarily understand why are we doing like insects. Okay, they are, you can find them around mushrooms, and the lizards, fire lizards, are connected to the fire suit for sure, but like, I could have lived without it, though. Ladybug reminds me of my grandmother, so I don't mind. But all in all, really good quality box, and I like how it looks. Now, let's still talk about not the deck. Guidebook, good quality. It's shiny paper, which is something that I will talk about regarding to the cards. There are colorful pictures and images for each of the cards. For the majors, there are bigger ones, not fully, card size, but big enough to see things clearly. For the minors, you get a tiny one, but everything is colorful, so and if you just keep it, just keep the guidebook with yourself to study on the train or whatever, it's still a very good way because you can read it through and remember the card without the need to pull it out. So I appreciate that. There are a few spreads in the beginning after the introduction, and how to read the cards and all the BS that we still need to include in every deck, because obviously there are new people every time. Even though I don't know, I kind of feel like it's getting redundant because everybody will just search for the internet how to read cards, but whatever. There's a 1-card spread, a 3-card spread, a Celtic cross, and there's one that's called a 6-card pentagram, which is something that seems like an interesting one. You only need the majors for this one. You chose a significator for either for yourself or for the problem that you're trying to look at what's imbalance of, because it's an elemental spread, so it's kind of like you can see which element or which part of you is imbalanced, maybe something that you didn't realize, and it's not obvious even though it's in front of you, you cannot see it, type of situation. So like one for the earth, the air, the fire, and the water. Why was it so hard? And then obviously there's a spirit up here, so I think that's a good one. And you can draw a pentacle, and just be witchy about it. And then the card descriptions are coming. I just checked a few ones. there's enough information, I think, in the description about the mushrooms that will give you a starting point to look into the mushrooms if you're interested. And I would say you don't have to be interested in mushrooms to like this deck. You can appreciate it just for the art style, because I think it's a beautiful deck. But if you like mushrooms, or you're interested in learning more about them, which was me when I saw this deck, I was absolutely smitten by the fact that it was a black background, because I really like those. But I don't know a lot about mushrooms, so I was like, oh, this is gonna be a good deck to study mushrooms, because why not? So this is not an encyclopedia, but there is, I think, enough information here for you to pick up where to start looking. Obviously, you have the name, the English one, and the Latin, which I really appreciate, because mushrooms called 100 different things in different languages, but at least if you know the Latin one, you can look them up. And I think the artwork style is really pretty. It's okay, no, it's not pretty, it's beautiful, to be honest. It's very lifelike, I feel like, and what's the word that I'm trying to say? It makes you want to look into the deck more. It's not something where you're just like, oh, okay, it's a pretty one, but it's more like, oh, I'm interested, I'm intrigued, let's, deep dive into the world of mushrooms, and not in a way that, or in a way that, some people might think. So, that's pretty much the guidebook. There are some sources, so you can, look up those. There's one about casting spreads. There's one of the language of the flowers. I'm assuming there should be some, because there are flowers, by the way, on cards. So there's not a lot, as far as I can see, in the guidebook about the flowers. But look at that. In the sun, there are some sunflowers. I think most of us knows that sunflowers are turning towards the sun and blah 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 blah. There's some basic information about the flower, but not about like something else. If there is one, I would have appreciated like at least just like somewhere just the word that which crystals or which insects or which flowers were illustrated in the cards, because that would be really cool to know, because I'm assuming everything was deliberate. It doesn't look like one where the author and the creator, I don't even know if it was the same one. It's a Sarah Richard deck, but let me check who illustrated it, if it's the same person. Oh, look at that, a nice title page. Illustration by Sarah Richard. Okay. So it's a one-person deck as far as I can see, which I appreciate, because I think, I mean, don't get me wrong, I really like people who work together well, but when it's one person, it's easier to maybe get the idea on the page if you can illustrate this level, because these are beautiful cards. Than telling the other people. But there's no mention of the flowers, which I kind of am sad, though. I can turn this into study deck for next year and try to figure out which flowers are what, and just learn more about flowers as well. But there is a book recommendation for that. There's a forensic mycology, taking Hebaloma to court. Oh, that sounds interesting. Oh, okay. That just sounds interesting. And the National Audubon Society Field Guide to North American Mushrooms. So I guess it's mostly North American mushrooms that we're finding in this deck. But I've seen a bunch that we have too here. So I think North America and us are... okay, North America is big, but we can be on the same level, so, and same environment, so a lot would be present here as well, I think. Okay, issues with the deck. I have two issues. One, the cards were, they arrived with a huge as bow like this. I don't like when decks are already pre-bought, because it's gonna be a very hard to try to riffle shuffle them in a way to, you know, like be more straight, especially because and of course there's a flip through if you want to see all the cards. The quality of the card stock itself is not really good. I mean, it feels cardboardy, and if I, you know, look at that, if I just try to bend it the other way, it crumbles. So I'm not even sure how long this deck will stay in like good condition to be able to use, because I don't have a lot of faith in the cardstock. I'm not a cardstock snob. I have preferred cardstocks, but this is not it. And that's one thing. The other one is these are absolutely, it's one of my favorite ones. This is my favorite buy. I tried not to just, you know, pick all the cards because I pretty much found all of them beautiful, but this is a matte cardstock, which, you know, I know most of us really like matte cardstock because it's good. It looks good on camera. It looks good on Instagram, blah, blah, blah. But the black would show up so much nicer, and the depth of reds and greens would show up so much nicer with a little shiny lamination that I was so disappointed when I opened it, because obviously I look at the images through my you know, screen, and those depths of colors, I know it's, you know, not the same as real one. I never know how to figure my settings to be real life, so I apologize, and I know that I'm not blaming anybody, but I was just kind of hoping and assuming that it's gonna be shiny cardstock, because for this type of artwork, I do think that for the black, to the richness of the black to show up, I think it would have been so much nicer if there was a shiny cardstock version and a better cardstock, because what is this, please? You know, it's a tarot deck. It's meant to be used. It's not something you just flip through and then put somewhere. Most people will riffle, shuffle, and shuffle the heck out of it, and I don't really have a lot of faith that it's not gonna start chipping on corners and catch and bend and stuff like that. So if you're very heavy with your cards, I'm not saying don't get it, but I mean, look at that. It's gonna be something that I'm not gonna enjoy. I'm gonna edge it black because, you know, it's a black deck, but yeah, the cardstock is a disappointment, and I know that for a lot of people it matters. That's why I'm mentioning. I absolutely would rebuy this in a more sturdier, shiny, laminated cardstock. Okay, a few that I didn't like, and to be honest, those are the aces. Most of the cards doesn't have anything to do with human beings, and I really do appreciate that. I think that in this deck, humans are just annoying. Okay, slightly. And I think there's only few times when their faces are appearing somewhere, so it's not really relevant. Most of them that are showing up are Fae, which is perfectly fine. But these are, you know, like Ace of Pentacles, there's a hand, Ace of Swords, there's a hand, and then there's a hand in the cups, and there's a hand on the wands. I think it's unnecessary. I don't think it was needed. The other cards doesn't have someone to be there and grab them, and I understand these are the aces, but yeah, still, I could have lived without that. Before I show you my favorites, these are the ones that I just wanted to show because this is a Rider-Waite-Smith system user deck. So there are cards that are, you know, like typical that the Three of Swords. It looks like the Three of Swords. I wish it would be something more. The Ten of Cups is cute, but then again, you know, the rainbow, the cups. But at least, you know, it's a mushroom, so I think it's better than the Three of Swords. I really like the Devil. I don't mind at all that this is. It's just a setting. That spider is very interesting there, and the moth and just the shape of the mushroom is really cool. And you know, them being woven together, interlaced with spider webs. I think that's a really cool one. So it's not all that like, it look like the old one. It's just, this one I think it's especially cool. Yeah, Hermit, it looks really nice. Just why the need for the hand? Even though it could kind of look like like the hand of death or something like that. And then the Hierophant is also, I think it's one of the coolest one, because you just see the placement, but it's not necessarily, you know, someone teaching the other ones. It's just the placement. But there are cards like that for sure. So, you know, if you don't like that, or if you do like that, you at least you know. And a few of favorites. Okay, I know I lied. It's not a few. It's more than a few. But there was just so many that I really liked. I think the King of Pentacles is the most beautiful one in the deck. I love the rubies. I love the red. The green next to it. It's just, I think it's beautiful. The illumination. It's just a beautiful art illustration. I really do appreciate the style. Seven of Pentacles is a really cool one. I don't know the Dune Cup. Pezisa Ammophilia. I don't know this mushroom, but there's some moonlight and some fae, I think. But yeah, it just looks really cool. The zombie ant fungus. It's just, I know I heard about this one that, you know, grows on living ants, but it's just so weird and cruel and whatnot. And oh, what I forgot to say is that there's a flowery frame for each of the minor suits, so which is the same for each suit. So, you know, for the swords, these are the ones. This yellow one is for the pentacles. So when you lay out the cards, you can easily identify which suit they belong to. Which, even though the words are there, you can just go with what you see visually if you want to disregard, you know, the titles, because sometimes you do that. I like this Five of Swords. It's a very interesting one. There are some fae people here, and there are slugs munching on a mushroom that kind of looks like it's falling apart, so it's very interesting. The Four of Swords is also like, you know, like some dandelions looking. I think those are dandelions, right? Or not? I don't know. But maybe not. Maybe it's the mushroom's way of spreading its spores. Could be. I don't know. It's the snow fungus. Tremella fuciformis. I don't know. I like the Knight of Cups. I know. I just love the purple. And what I like about the snail is how it's, you know, like wavy, the body, because most of the snail illustrations are always just flat. And snails, if you have a snail, or if you like watching snails walking around, which I actually recommend. They are so much fun to watch. They are faster than you think. I mean, not giant African snails, because Marty is so slow that it's, you know, garden snails are like racehorses next to her. But they always, you know, like wave, like they walk like a wave. And I just like that illustrated, and I love the colors and everything. A tiny frog. Look at that. And this is the Nine of Cups. Cups. I was reading the club. Water club mushroom. I don't know these mushrooms, but it's really cool. But like I said, it makes me intrigued. It makes me interested in the subject. I really like this one. This is the birch polypore. The Fomitopsis betulina. Okay, it's the Four of Wands, and look at that. The Fae people are. They made their tiny homes in. You know, you can imagine that this is the shadowest, darkest part of a forest, where, you know, just a tiny part where tiny fae people live and make their home. And you can't even enter. You just get a glimpse of it. I really do think that the fae energy is very strong with this one, not just because of the illustration, but even without that, I would say. I think the bleeding tooth fungus looks really cool. I never heard about it. It's the Two of Wands. I don't know how it connects to the idea of Two of Wands, but we will find out. The golden reishi, it just looks really cool. And for the star, I think it looks really cool. The tower, I think it's brilliant. It looks like a, you know, like a mushroom falling apart. Because I think it's the yellow netted stinkhorn, and I think the way, you know, they are poisonous and how they emit their poison if you know, poke them or something like that, if I remember correctly. So, you know, this is the tower moment that if you just poke the bear is gonna attack back. This is special for me because, you know, it's the death card, and there are some creatures that I wasn't able to see at first. There's a face here, if you know, want to see that, or a mountain, but I think it's the face that's looking that way. There's obviously the ladybug, which was for me connecting to my grandma. A really good thing to have there. There's, you know, the face of a skull here. There's a turtle, and there's a Scorpio. So it's quite an interesting combination of tiny creatures here. Destroying Angel is the mushroom, by the way. Old Man of the Woods is Justice. I don't know this mushroom, but it kind of makes sense, you know, like it looks like it's bleeding, but since it's the Old Man of the Woods, it's someone who has knowledge, you know. Strength is a very interesting one. It's a Chaga, I think that's how you say it. I don't even know necessarily what I'm seeing on, you know, the card, but it just looks, if to me when I looked at it, plus it's, you know, there's a face, there's a lion. These are the nose, the lips, the eyes, forming out of something. I don't even know if, you know, the mushroom is transforming something into this, or the lion is being transformed into something else, because the mushrooms are, you know, here, I think, and there's the elimination, or whatever it's called, the infinity symbol. But we're gonna just check the guidebook quickly. I like the Empress. It's the hen of the woods, but I wasn't thinking about the hen, I was thinking about the fig. No, it's not the fig. Oh god, the fur. Oh, I quickly wanted to say, you know, the pine cone, a pine cone when I looked at it, but that makes sense to me as well. And the High Priestess looks like aliens, you know, with actual nuns, which I really liked. So let's check quickly the strength card so you can see more of the guidebook setup. Okay, so the strength is Chaga. It's growing slowly and steadily on soft birchwood. Chaga is a medicinal fungus whose rock hard skin is capable of busting blades in even the sturdiest of grinders. Oh, okay, so it's turning something into, the mushroom as it growing is turning into this lion face. Chaga is tough to harvest, often requiring the use of a strong hacksaw to remove it from birch alcoves. When harvested, it can be transformed into an antioxidant-rich tea and tincture. Chaga shows us that patience and mindfulness are key to sustainable strength. That's a really good one. And then, you know, you have the upright, patience, endurance, good health, reversed inner strength, low energy, calm form, and raw emotion, and then blah blah blah. Some, you know, longer explanation for it. And even though the guidebook said it in the beginning that, you know, they are using the RWS system, sometimes there are some other ways to interpret certain cards, which is always fun, I think. I also don't like this part. It looks like it's dirty. It's not, but it's just probably how it was cut. But as you can see, the bow is strong. I do not like the bow. I don't know how it's shuffle. I'm gonna attempt to shuffle, and you know, guys, I don't shuffle on camera a lot because I cannot. I'm not a very efficient rifle shuffler, and I don't really want to. I mean, you can, but I kind of feel like it's stiff. But let's get you a card for being nice and being here and watching the whole thing. And I was thinking about picking up, there's a mushroom oracle coming out that is light and has beautiful mushroom illustration, but I don't think I want to, you know, overdo it, so yeah. I mean, I have other, well, let's go with this one. Okay, the other fell down, so it's the Nine of Pentacles. I mean, I was like, there's gonna be something that they are next to each other, so let's just pick one, but nope. The deck was like, dude, we're coming out. So, we have the Nine of Pentacles and the Queen of Pentacles. It's very interesting. A Queen of Pentacles for me is the card that represents the divine as well, you know. So every time the Queen of Pentacles appears, I always acknowledge that more so than anything else these days, as a note from upstairs that, yep, we're listening. This is, you know, something that is either you don't need to know what's going on, you just need to know that you're taken care of, or that whatever is happening is happening for your highest good. That's how I came to interpret this card, more so than, you know, the basic interpretation of the card. So whatever you were thinking today, whatever problem you're facing, just know that if you slowly walk the walk and do the job and you take care of what you can take care of, you know, you will end up where you're supposed to be end up at, and you don't need to worry about it. Maybe you might feel lost. Maybe you're just feeling like you're just working, and you don't have enough to show up for the work that you've done. But know that it's not the case. It's just that the current time is the slow working, minding my own business type of time. But we're, you know, we're taken care of. We're being watched and we're being protected. And everything happens for a reason and all that. So yeah, I hope this was useful. Even though I don't like the cardstock, which I said that I just don't. Yeah, did I show you the back? I don't think these are the backs. I really wish, and they are not reversible in a sense that there are, you know, like there's dot and there's a circle here, and there's just one dot here. So if you put them next to each other and you pay attention, you can easily say which side is what. So I know that for some people that's annoying. It's not a big one, so if you just concentrate on the middle one, I think that should be fine. There are those that are different as well, so it's not fully reversible, but I think if you manage to look away, then, you know, or just not look that closely while shuffling, and it's not gonna be a problem. If you read reversals, I don't. But yeah, this is all. Like I said, there's a flip through for the card, and I will post obviously 6 months in video later when I have a chance to actually work with the deck. I don't know when that will be. Maybe just in the autumn time, because I don't know, because I have decks that I already picked to study. But maybe not, because I really like how this one looks. So, and I also want to do, you know, we have to set up a time, a live stream about this deck and mushroom decks with Robin from Toast to Tarot, because, you know, he's the mushroom expert. So obviously I want to talk about this deck. So if that happens, and then I will link it in the description as well. So thank you for being here. Thank you for watching, for subscribing, liking, or doing all those YouTube stuff that helps my channel. Thank you for commenting, because I like hearing about you guys. If you like the deck, what do you think about it? Stuff like that. See you in the next one. Bye.